we're back working on this '07 Chevrolet Silverado 6.6 Duramax. It's here because the engine was replaced and it doesn't run right. I cleared all the codes and these codes have come back. To me, it has a misfire in it when it's sitting there idling, and it's got Injector 6 and Injector 7 control circuit codes. So we're going to have a visual inspection of those two injectors, figure out what side of the engine they're on. So we're dealing with a potential problem on Injector 6 and Injector 7. Injector 6 is driver's side third cylinder and 7 is passenger side rear cylinder. So they're not even on the same side of the engine. So again, it's Injector 6 and 7. Looking at the electrical diagram, Injector 6 and 7 share a common driver. So if that driver fails, we'd lose two injectors. And it could be problems with the injectors or wiring harness as well. But looking at connector 107, pins 34, 3, and 7 are all in question, as well as these pins at the ECM. And I visually looked at the injectors. They're plugged in, but it's almost impossible to get to them without pulling the inner fender skirts off. So I think I'm going to go right for this connector 107 here and do some electrical measurements right at that connector. So let's get an exploded view of that connector. So connector X107 is on the top right or left valve cover. It looks like the upper connector, fortunately. So I've got an exploded view of that connector, and we're going to have a just turn the key off, disconnect the connector, and do some resistance measurements of the injectors. Okay, so this is connector X107, and this green wire in the corner here is actually pin number 1, and we're looking for actually that yellow wire there, which is pin 3, which is injector control supply voltage, and then pin 7 and pin 34. We're going to have to figure out which pins they are in here. How is this laid out? Pin 7 is the second row in somewhere in here on this side. So we're going to go on the harness side to measure between pin 3 and 7 and between pin 3 and 34 to check the resistance of the injectors. So I'm between pins 3 and 7, which should be injector number 6 driver, and I'm reading 0.34 ohms. So now I'm going to move over to this injector, which is the other one on the circuit, pin 34, and it reads exactly the same. So I'm starting to lean towards a driver in the computer failed. Fortunately, this is on the outside edge, so we should be able to back pin this and see what kind of voltage is there and potentially compare it to one of the other drive circuits. So I got the lapscope, the graphic multimeter hooked up to pin 3, and this is what I've got for a pattern. It doesn't look right. Fortunately, the pin above it, pin 2, which is the orange wire, is the supply voltage for injector number 1. One of the other injectors. So I'm going to move this over and check that one and see what it looks like. Well, that one looks basically the same, but it definitely is higher. It looks exactly the same to me. I'm going to do some more experimenting. So there's a lap stroke pattern of injector number 6, back pinning pin number 7. And now I notice it's not misfiring anymore. So let's go see if the code's clear. So it's looking like this thing needs a number 6 and 7 glow plug as well, not related to the fuel injectors. But at least the injector drive codes are not coming back. The vehicle seems to be running nice and smooth now. I'm going to take it for a road test. It has other issues, of course. So look at look at injector or glow plug issues. Where is it? EGR, engine data, misfire data, fuel data, injector data. Oh, that must be in a different module altogether. That's right, it has a glow plug control module. Yes, it has a glow plug control module. Current flow 0. Current flow 0. Glow plug number 8, 20 ohms. Glow plug number 665 ohms. Alright, well, we're going to take it for a road test, see how it runs. So the only codes we have now are the injector codes. So I got to assume it was a poor pin grip. I did check the pin grip. I'm going to take that connector apart and clean it, but it seems the miss is gone now and the 2 injector driver codes are gone now.